We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM. We're having a conversation with talk show host Vince Coakley. So, Vince, you were talking about Amendment 1 in North Carolina?
Yeah, and I think it tells us something that I think we've got to start focusing on for the future. The Amendment 1 passed. It basically defined as marriage in the Constitution for North Carolina between a man and a woman. Now, what's intriguing about this is, while it passed, in all of the major cities of North Carolina, it failed. This is a pretty interesting thing for us to understand. I mean, we've all looked at the blue state, red state maps. We've got to start in a more sharply focused way considering cities, because this, I believe, is where the liberals, the progressives, are really making the inroads. They're taking cities one by one. I mean, we've got efforts like down in Texas. Where is that? In San Antonio, where they're pretty much trying to profile people who they define as being anti-gay and say they can't work for the city or be in government office in any way in the city. This is an intentional effort. They're trying to knock off, conservatives. I mean, Charlotte, for instance, we have a very rich history of Republican leadership. In fact, our current governor in North Carolina is a former mayor of Charlotte. But I've had several conversations with people here who said they have serious doubts we'll ever have another Republican mayor. Our city is, and there are a number of factors involved in this. So let me just say, even in the radio station's defense here, the demographics are changing. And I think some of what's happening here is I think some people are trying to, in their minds, get ahead of the demographics and say, let's reach a broader audience, not just this conservative audience. The reality of it is, and I'm willing to bet this, is I don't think that there's much of an appetite for radio that really wastes people's time. I just don't think it's there.
Mm-hmm, exactly. You were talking about Amendment 1. Here in California, we just passed, we didn't pass, but the Sacramento passed it, Brown signed it.
Democratic legislator
passed a transgender law where if...
saw that.
Yeah, isn't that comical? I mean, it's absolutely insane. So if you feel like you might be female, you can walk into a female restroom in your high school,
or play on the female team.
Now, what 17-year-old guy isn't going to take advantage of this? I mean, this is ludicrous. I mean, it's insane.
We went through this total legislation to have equal rights on the playing field, having women having teams and men having teams. Now what we're going to end up is with men teams and transgender teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. It's really insane.
Here's what you guys have to understand about this, and this is probably not new to you. I am becoming increasingly convinced that all of this, I mean, the irony is, what are we hearing from the progressives about these so-called gender issues? Their entire focus has been on this theme of this alleged war on women. Here is where we've got to start fighting back. The true battle is not any stupid war on women. This is a war on manhood. And unfortunately, we have a lot of what one friend of mine refers to as a lot of beta males who have bought into it, and they've just thrown up the white flag of surrender and joined the other side. Mm-hmm. So what we have to understand is manhood is under attack. Fatherhood is under attack. And it's time that we call out males who are throwing up the white flag of surrender. For me, I think it's time for us to start having conversations about abortion in a different way. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. Abortion is not about a woman and her right to decide. Half of that DNA in that baby belongs to the man. Half of it. Now, we can have debates about the woman's body and all that. I get all of that. But the fact of the matter is, for any so-called male to not stand by and say, I need to have a say in this. Now, obviously, with the exceptions of things like rape and incest and abuse, things like that. I get it. But when you're talking about men being excluded from that decision, the idea that men would be excluded from that is ridiculous. And I blame males partially for this issue, for allowing women to hoard this issue and think this is something that they alone have the ability to decide.
Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, and you see the implications, and what ends up happening is every area, and you know how progressives work, every piece of ground that we surrender, they take. And, oh, no, we don't want to offend this group. We don't want to offend that group. And so what ends up happening is we've, just basically lost the battle because we don't even show up for the battle. We just give up. This is why I am so ticked off with what I call Eeyore Republicans. They can't set out to win any battle. They, oh no, they're going to make us look bad. Well, you already look bad because you don't have any clothes on. What you are is a bunch of beta males.
I like that, Vince.
If this is the way you're going to operate, then go ahead and throw up the white flag of surrender, but do us another favor, go home, because we don't need people like that in so-called positions of leadership. If you're not going to lead, then get out of the way and let somebody else be in that position who will lead.
I like that. We're having a conversation with talk show host Vince Coakley.
Vince, if you're not the lead dog, then view never changes. But just on another subject, Marty told me the other day that when we were talking, you were coming on, that you were talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is Obamacare and its effect on young people. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Well, this is a very obscene setup because, and I, there's so many implications to this. By the way, I have ADHD, so my mind goes all over the place. But one of the thoughts that goes through my mind, and as I've interacted with people I consider true elders and true fathers, fathers want to lay something aside, and they want to sacrifice for their children. The whole Obamacare system is obscene in that what it's going to do is it's going to bleed money out of younger people. And these younger people are generally in better health. It's really an obscene form of wealth redistribution. And so in order to fund this, think of all of the people now who are going to be retiring over the coming years, and we've heard about the unfunded mandates and how much it's going to cost. This is an impossible system. So in other words, how many of you would think of charging something, getting a credit card in your infant child's name and running up that credit card and leaving that bill to your child? This is exactly what we're doing with Obamacare and all of these other programs. They're not long-term going to be viable or sustainable. So we're robbing from young people in order to maintain some system for the here and now. And I'm not sure it's going to be around very long.
Except it's going to backfire because young people are smart enough, as you pointed out. They're healthy. They don't need health care. And if they need it, they can go to the emergency room. So they're just going to opt out of the program and pay the $95 penalty. And so what's going to happen is older people rates are going to increase, and then the death panels are going to kick in.
Exactly. And the sad thing about this, too, is we've got older people who don't realize what's happening here, which is their money has been, shifted into this program. But even there, and here's again another one of the lies of the progressives who tell us, well, keep your hands off of my body and all this other stuff. Here is an obscene program here that, again, is going to not only affect your health care, but they're going to have access to all of your records. All of your records. So your privacy is going to be violated yet again. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
And they're going to use what they call navigators to enroll people in this program who have no experience when they could use a qualified insurance agent. And these navigators are going to be basically lower income minorities, and you're going to see a lot of identity theft taking place as well.
Oh, it's just opening the floodgates to all kinds of problems, and I don't like to think this way, but unfortunately we're dealing with people who I believe their goal is to create chaos. I think they want to destroy everything. I think they want to destroy everything, so the only thing left is government to pick up the pieces.
Egypt in America, it's coming.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that.
Hey, you know what? We talked about the big cities, and when you think about it, the big cities are the uninformed voters and the majority of the people that are on government assistance of some type. That's what the Democrats are looking for. And every time we elect a Democrat in a big city, we're looking at a future Detroit.
That's true.
Yes.
You know, Vince, unfortunately, I should have tried to book you for the hour because I think the three of us could just go on and on and on. So unfortunately, we're running out of time. I would love to have you back if you would join us again.
And I stayed awake.
Absolutely. Good job.
Thank you.
Vince, thank you so much for the time, but we would love to have you back. And next time we have you, I'd like to talk to you about what you're doing now, but we got so involved in the conversation, we kind of didn't get to that. So.
Well, what's your website, real quick?
Well, that's a good way to do it. It's vincecoakley.com. Check it out.
Great. Thank you, Vince, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, look forward to it.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.